Yeah, I can hear that.
Say it again, Leslie.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I put a reverb on. I don't know how that sounds.
Sounds really good.
It sounds like you're in a cathedral.
Hi, Sean.
It does kind of sound like you're gonna start singing us some hymns.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, come on. I'm sure you know some.
No, I don't. Oh, that's Calm's voice.
Also, is my voice okay?
Yeah.
Since I'm on mic. Alright.
It's scuffed, but it's a good scuffed.
Thank you. I'm a bit scuffed today. Oh, I don't even have water.
Damn, we got a lot of guests today. I already started streaming, by the way. So
Oh gosh, we're being recorded.
it's no stress.
Hey, mommy, I'm on TV.
Nobody break Twitch TOS.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we
Look
going
at
to
me,
have
Mom,
someone else
I'm
do the other
famous now.
ones?
The other voice can just be whoever wants to do the creepiest voice in chat. So, who can do a really good creepy voice? I know Ewok would be able to do a good, like, maybe deep or creepy voice. Torva, I know that you said that you did some really cool stuff for, was it Sydney? That was, like, kind of menacing, right?
Huh? What?
Like we're asking like who can do like a good like impromptu creepy voice.
Oh, I am running World of Warcraft dungeons while listening, so I'm unavailable.
Okay.
Hey, I wasn't signed up to do any voices, so like I'm just doing stuff in the background.
You're good.
Not
This is for
acceptable.
your entertainment.
You're dead to me.
Yeah, what else is new, bitch? Love you.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know who would do that. If somebody wants to
I mean-
offer their creepy voice, I would be more than happy.
I can try, but...
I mean, I can also imagine the other's voice being just... You know how, like, in some media, Satan is, like, shown as a really chill dude, but then he's just trying to, like, persuade you to come to his side?
hmm
I can kind of imagine that kind of...
Hey Mike, can you voice the other?
There you go. Yeah, come on, Bort, do it.
Oh, what the hell? I'm just gonna be like...
It's only like 3 or 4 lines. You're the other. It's decided.
Jeez. When is this? Because I do have to go and...
Oh yeah, you
It'll
might not
be
be
towards
around
the
for it.
end.
Yeah, sorry.
Rip.
Well, we'll
I can
figure
do
it
it.
out. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, thank you, Jackson. We'll figure it out. We're doing it live.
Fuck it. Let's do it live.
It's ain't supposed to be professional, so I think we're on that clear.
Have we done a mic check?
Yeah, everyone sounds good so far. I don't see any
Okay.
issues on any levels. So far I've been hearing everybody pretty well.
Well, how's it sound now? I'm sitting in my proper setup.
Okay. Mic check. Let's just have people say things.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3.
Guyen?
Hello?
Yeah,
I
Ewok,
don't like Amicus.
Mikal.
Testing. Yep, testing.
Yeah, everyone sounds good. Let's do it.
Let us proceed then.
Leslie, if you don't mind.
The following days are strange, to say the least. After what happened in the amphitheater, the Woolen population has seemingly taken great interest in me. I guess I'm sort of a celebrity at this point. I got my first taste of it while lounging in the dining room, only half paying attention to the screens when I realized that it's a reenactment of the trial by combat between Amicus and Kato. My character, portrayed by a small wolf wearing a rather uncanny human mask, jumps in at the last second to plunge the dagger into Kato's back. He's then stabbed directly in the throat by Kato instead of slashed, and stands for several seconds, clutching his neck while Amicus tears into Kato's throat, then arrives just in time to catch me as he swoons back. I have to stop watching at this point. The memories of what happened too fresh and traumatizing for me to see played out, even if it's terribly acted out. While I suppose it's nice to be liked by the general population, I can't help but feel it's for the wrong reasons. I'm definitely being portrayed as a noble savage of sorts, so in love with my quote-unquote master that I broke the rules to save him, or I just didn't understand the rules well enough to abide by them. Either way, it makes me feel kind of uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Amicus is kept busy, of course. The quiet moment I'd had with him in the archives is actually the last really long moment alone I've had with him since. Almost immediately after, Amicus was whisked away to various ceremonies and meetings as everything became official. Amicus is the emperor now, and he seems to be taking it rather well, especially after the incredibly stressful events preceding it. His personality has always been silly and a bit immature, but after taking the throne, he's taken on a persona of a cool, calm leader. It's a side of him that I've seen occasional flashes of, and while I'm happy to see him fitting the role as well, I can't help but feel a little sad that he has to quash his playful, outgoing side of himself. I suppose it's one of those parts of having to grow up. I try to stay out of his way for now, knowing he has so much to do, but on the second day of the trial, I'm told by Calm that Amicus wants to speak with me. 1 second. I open the door and immediately hear Virginia's voice, raised slightly in annoyance.
No, Lux is the city in desperate need of funds right now. Lex is doing very well.
Well, I'm sorry, but the names are rather similar, are they not? I mean, I meant Lux anyway.
Even if you meant it that way, I can guarantee you the Triumvirans won't be pleased hearing you mistakenly refer to which city they are from.
All right, calm down. I'll be sure to remember that. And don't yell at me in front of triumvirates, please. You only give my critics more weaponry if I'm seen allowing my own sister to treat me in such a way.
All the more reason to not make mistakes, then.
The two seem to realize that I'm finally here and cease their argument.
Marco, we were just finishing our conversation.
Were we? I'm going to drill you on all of this again on our flight to the city.
Virginia makes her way past me, pushing to rest a paw on my shoulder. Pausing to rest a paw on my shoulder.
Maybe I should put you in charge of my brother's studies. At least he listens to you.
The she-wolf rolls her eyes before disappearing through the door, leaving us in silence so that Amicus's big, heavy sighs seem to resonate through the entire room.
Gods, she's relentless.
Isn't that a good thing?
I suppose. It doesn't make it easier to deal with.
Amicus is walking towards me and immediately takes me into a deep hug, followed by a kiss. I kiss back, feeling Amicus's tense body relax against mine, and I feel happy at the idea that I might be able to relieve him of his stress so easily. He finally draws back, smiling as he does.
How have you been? You know, I've been rather absent lately, but...
I know, official business and everything. I've been okay. It's kind of just to all the new.
I sweep a hand around I sweep a hand around me, then hastily bring it to my neck. The wound that the parents had somehow healed, my trachea and vocal cords having been replaced and repaired with something. I try not to think about it, and I've gotten used to it for the most part.
Well, I hope you've been adjusting smoothly then.
Amicus brushes a paw through my hair, looking me over.
What was it you wanted to talk about?
Amicus pulls his paw back, and the look on his face starts to worry me.
Is it about what happened with the parents?
At this point in time, I know that something involving me happened while I'd been unconscious. For whatever reason, I'd been kept unaware of the conversation that happened between Amicus and the parents. Amicus nods, rubbing his arm awkwardly.
Yes, it's rather complicated, so it might take a moment for me to explain it all.
The wolf guides me to the sofa, and we sit side by side as Amicus drapes an arm over my shoulder. Over the next few minutes, he tells me of the deal that he made with the parents, that he submitted himself to their will, if only to bring me back to life. It's a similar decision that I had to make, and I shake my head.
I don't like that. Why are they doing this to us?
Amicus shrugs loosely against me, shaking his head as well.
I honestly don't know, but I can tell you that my view of them has changed quite a bit since what happened.
So what? Now you have to do whatever they say, or something bad happens to me?
Again, my hand drifts to my neck, wondering if there's something more to the mechanics in my throat. An irrational part of my mind wonders if maybe there's some type of self-destruct mechanism built into it. I shudder at the thought of my throat suddenly exploding.
I doubt that, but I feel that maybe they would make it difficult for us to stay together if I did. Our meeting together, it was planned by the parents.
This is something I'd sort of assumed on my own, but I still bristle nonetheless.
See? They're using our love against us. This is just fucked up.
Amicus just nods quietly, but draws me closer with his arm around my shoulders.
So they just draw us together? I was like the most compatible human to you. Now they can make sure we do as we're told so we can stay together?
Again, Amicus is quiet, just holding me.
I don't like this.
Neither do I.
So if your job is to bring the Cassius together, what's my job?
Amicus takes another slow, deep sigh, which only spikes my anxiety. I realize that the release I'd felt in the archives room was only temporary. In retrospect, I suppose it was a bit silly that I thought everything would be fine after Amicus became emperor. This is only the beginning.
Well, this is what I wanted to talk to you about.
I wait, feeling Amicus steel himself for what he's about to say, and I feel my anxiety grow. How bad could this be, actually? Then he lets out a breath with a rush of words, seemingly trying to get the explanation out all at once.
The parents told me that your mission is to begin the process of integrating humans into the galaxies.
I'm only starting to absorb that when Amicus takes another breath and starts another slew of words.
They want you to return to Earth and complete a series of steps to begin the integration process. A process that will take...
Amicus suddenly winces, as though the words themselves hurt.
that will take around 8 years to complete.
That last bit takes longer for me to comprehend. 8 years?
8 years? I'll have to go to Earth for 8 years and do a bunch of crap to bring my planet into the Galaxius?
Amicus nods, and I see the deep sadness on his face. This explains why he wasn't exactly happy after we escaped the parental dimension. I find myself at a loss for words. Even though there is so much I want to ask, Amicus tries to fill the silence.
Planets won't be conquered or anything. Rather, you're already on sibling-like level. You're unique in that you aren't exactly a sibling species, but you won't be under the control of another civilization, if that makes sense. Aside from the parents, of course.
That's a relief, I suppose. Though the more I learn about the parents, the more I'm unsure about any of this. While I'd once worried about the wolves invading Earth, I'm not sure I'd want the parents to be doing the same. At least they're very hands-off, I guess.
In the 8 years, will I be able to see you?
I see the corners of Amicus's muzzle dip down deeply into a frown before stubbornly pulling back up, the way they often do when he's trying to not tear up.
No, but I discussed with them those supplements that we take to extend our lifespan. You'll be able to take them to make those 8 years seem more negligible.
The way that Amicus is talking, fast-paced and upbeat, tells me that he's trying to make this sound like it isn't a huge deal at all, but it is.
8 years.
The arm around my shoulder brings me into a full-on hug now, pressing my face against his chest.
I know, it seems like a long time, and it is, but after that, we'll be free.
Amicus's voice is strained, like there's a heavy weight on his chest. We both know it won't. We both know we won't.
And I'm gonna have to do all that alone? Won't you come help me?
Now I sound like a child. I can see Amicus's eyes glistening, but he stubbornly continues to smile.
You won't need my help. You're fully capable on your own. Besides, we'll see each other again as soon as your series of planned steps are completed.
Over the course of 8 years.
And once you reach that point, we'll be able to finally relax and enjoy our lives.
I'm still trying to absorb the idea of a years-long mission, a mission that involves introducing all of Earth to the ideas of sapient life beyond our own planet. The idea is harrowing enough, but after being strung along by the parents like this, I have to wonder.
It seems like after we accomplish every step, there's a bigger one right after.
I feel my heart rate pick up, but rather than becoming angry, I'm feeling kind of desperate.
How much are they gonna ask from us? This whole thing is just puppeteering. We're not in control of anything at all.
Marco,
Amicus reaches out to me as I stand up.
please. I know this is hard. I've been trying to figure out a way not to drag you to this. But the parents seem intent.
This isn't fair though. We paid our dues. I fucking died.
Again, I sound like a little kid. I can't help myself. This really isn't fair at all. I didn't ask for any of this. Originally, I had Amicus to blame. He was the one that brought me here in the first place. Now, though, knowing that everything was planned and orchestrated by the parents, I feel powerless. Like I don't have any choice. Like I didn't have any choice from the very beginning.
I don't even have a say in this.
But you haven't gotten to that part yet.
Amicus has his paws raised, and I can see that he's still trying to hold back tears. I want to lash out at something, but I know this isn't his fault, especially now. So I try to calm myself, taking a few deep breaths and swallowing hard.
They told me that you can make a decision, just as I made.
I'm quiet for a moment, still breathing heavily.
You can choose not to accept the mission. They will not force you to do it. We have around 9 months. We have around 9 months before the mission begins.
I stare at the wolf, letting those words sink in.
And if I don't accept, what are the consequences?
That deep frown returns to Amicus's face. Oh.
Enough to make a baby.
Am I supposed to read again?
Chris, if you're talking, we don't hear you.
She's currently dying of laughter.
Enough to make a baby.
Say the line, Amicus! Enough to make a
No.
That deep frown returns to Amicus's face. Yeah, go back to...
They told me that you can make a decision, just as I made mine.
I'm sorry, I'm quiet for a moment, still breathing heavily.
You can choose not to accept the mission. They will not force you to do it. We have around 9 months before the mission begins.
Enough to make a baby!
Enough to make a baby.
Yeah, we did it. Sorry, I couldn't help myself, Chris. Couldn't help myself.
I stare at the wolf, letting those words sink in.
And if I don't accept, what are the consequences?
That deep frown returns to Amicus's face.
Well, they won't provide the transport back to Earth. Of course, it will likely be able to set it up for you now. But considering that the integration will be delayed, I would be disallowed from returning to see you.
So either I do what they say, or I never see you again?
Well, you could choose not to return to Earth. I'm not suggesting that be your decision, but it's one of the possibilities.
Charlotte, just a heads up, we're losing some of the words when you're speaking.
Yeah. We unfortunately lost half of that line because it was cutting in and out.
Testing. How does it sound now?
It's good now.
Well, you choose not to return to Earth. I'm not suggesting that be your decision, but it's one of the possibilities.
I look away, just feeling terrible. And the main reason for that is because I feel like I have to do this. Even though I know Amicus has his doubts about the parents now, I know he still believes in their goal. And if I just give up on all of that, if I just give up on it all now, sorry.
I need to think about this.
I'm starting to turn away from Amicus. Sorry. I'm starting to turn away when Amicus abruptly stands up. I think he's going to come after me, maybe wrap me in another hug. Instead, he keeps his paws behind his back, looking at me with an expression of stoic duty.
Alright. I'll be heading out to the city for part of the day to visit the Triumvirate. And whatever you choose, I will fully support you.
It takes me a moment to realize that Amicus is using his official face right now, and it's strange to have him use it on me, even though I know he's doing it to make things easier for me, to not sway my decision based on his emotions. I hate that he has to use it. I shake my head and turn away, walking out the room even as I hear Amicus make a strangled noise as he cuts himself off and holds back from saying whatever he was about to say. I walk briskly through the halls, trying to gather my thoughts. I just want to spend time with Amicus, go back to Earth, see my family, come back to Adastra. But no, those parents are meddling with my life, seemingly rendering every choice I make meaningless. If they can do all and see all, why are they messing with me and Amicus like this? I'm lost in thought as I turn a corner and run smack into something soft, furry, and white.
I was muted.
Yeah.
Oof! What in the name of the gods?
It takes me a moment to recognize the voice, probably because of how disoriented I am from running into him.
Sorry, Cassius.
I finally focus on the indignant wolf as he angrily smooths down his fur.
Watch where you're going! You could have knocked me to the floor. You know what a catastrophe that could result in.
Despite his outrage, I am actually kind of happy to see Amicus back to his old self. Just 2 days ago, he was bedridden, though recovering. A combination of Virginia inducing him to vomit and a quick delivery of an anecdote left Cassius in a position to fully recover.
Hello to you too, Cass.
Cassius fixes me with a narrowed-eyed glare.
Since when did I give you permission to use my shortened name, human?
I shrug, simply adjusting my robe before having it disheveled from the collision.
How are you feeling?
Changing the subject, I see. Well, never mind. I'm feeling fine, thank you. I can at least eat solid foods now without retching, though I doubt I'll ever be able to drink wine again without doing so.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm sure you are.
I shake my head, wondering why the wolf is so sour all the time. Maybe it's a side effect of always being second in line for everything. I see something similar in Neferu. They just go about handling it differently. Maybe it's also because of his illness. Always seen as weak and needing help, and he's reacting by being a dick. Then again, it could just be because he is a dick.
So, what are your plans now that...
Now that I've abdicated the throne and am leaving in disgrace.
You're not leaving in disgrace. I think people are going to be really.
I'm already being made fun of for being one of the shortest serving emperors in the history of the Empire. I'm in the main topic in all of the comedies at the moment.
Cassius takes a deep breath, closing his eyes.
Anyway, Marco, I wanted to thank you.
I almost get whiplash from the sudden change in tone and topic.
What?
Oh, don't make me say it again. I'm simply thankful for you for putting the Empire on a course that is somewhat tolerable, at least.
As opposed to being ruled by Kato?
Yes. While I might not believe that my brother is what is best for the Empire, at least he cares for it, and I suppose that's all that I can hope for.
Aren't you negotiating a position with Amicus?
Cassius looks at me suspiciously, though I have no idea why. I suppose almost being assassinated and also being sabotaged by everyone in this palace has made him a bit weary.
I suppose he'll tell you anyway, so yes, I'm looking to become the chief of social affairs.
He rolls his eye.
Oh no, it happened again.
Oh no.
There we go.
He rolls his eyes at my lack of reaction.
In other words, I will be making sure that Adastra's most vulnerable are taken care of. That all will someday receive the financial, social, and especially medical care that they need.
I perk up.
Oh, good. That's kind of what you were all about with your campaigning, right?
Yes. It will be nice to focus all of my energy on that rather than the bothersome politics that come with being emperor. I don't envy Amicus.
He eyes me closely.
I know you're very close with him, so please, if I must ask anything of you, it's to make sure that he does not forget those outside of the Triumvir cities. Their situation is desperate, and if we are truly going to reap fortune from an alliance, then they should be the first to benefit, not the Adastran elites.
It's one of those rare moments that Cassius is being completely genuine with me, so I nod earnestly.
Of course.
I also plan on making sure that Amicus remembers the woven children and to right the wrongs of what the past rulers had done to them. There's a lull in the conversation, and I try to think of something to say to thank Cassius in return.
And thank you for understanding your position, for deciding to step down when we asked.
You threaten me with outright humiliation if I did not.
I try to hold in a sigh of my own as the wolf frustrating. I try to hold in a sigh of my own at the wolf's frustrating attitude, even if my attempt at some form of diplomacy with him is clumsy.
Yeah, well, thanks anyway.
Cassius grunts non-committally, then looks past me.
Anyway, I must be going to the city. I have an appointment.
That's when I remember Alex. I never did see Cassius' reaction to finding out about Alex's treachery. Amicus had been furious when I told him, and I practically had to hold him back from marching up into the gardens and strangling the cat himself. He was especially furious when I told him that I'd made a deal with Alex to keep him from facing the consequences of sabotage from the entire empire. Amicus had settled on banishing Amicus had settled on banishing Alexios from the palace. I'm sorry. Amicus banning Amicus. Amicus had settled on banishing Alexios from the palace to some high security apartments in the center of Adastra City. Cassius has been visiting him there ever since. While I don't know what the state of the relationship is, I suppose even high treachery isn't enough to stop Cassius from seeing the cat again. They must be pretty close, even closer than I initially thought. I'm curious, but I stopped myself from asking, as I know that would only lead to more glares and sneers from the wolf. Instead, I bow and step aside, a bit surprised when Cassius bows and returns, even if it's mostly just half-hearted nod. I watch the white wolf disappear out through the main entrance, and I wait for a few moments before taking the same route into the gardens. The second water. While the conversation with Cassius had distracted me for a bit, my mind wanders back to what Amicus had just told me. I can't stop the feeling of constriction that seems to wrap around me, bound to the will of those supposedly all-knowing creatures. I sit for a while on a bench, contemplating everything while my hand absently caresses my repaired neck. I pressed a bit harder against the skin a few times and didn't like the unfamiliar shapes and edges that I felt. I'd asked Amicus how the parents had done it, how they had time to place the machinery in my neck, and also make me start breathing again. Of course, it turns out it's one of those parental tech things that no one really understands. It seems to have happened instantaneously, as if I'd been whisked away somewhere else to have surgery before being placed back into the archives. Apparently, when Amicus's father had asked the parents to restore Kato's sight, it had happened overnight. The old wolf surprising everyone when he walked into the dining room with his brand new visor. That had been over a decade ago. And that gets me wondering why the parents did that if they knew Kato would go on to do what he did. He blatantly got in the way of our plans. Why would they let him hold such an influential position in the empire, let alone restore his vision? I think that might be the monitor.
Yeah, this is the monitor. Guyan?
I mean, you could just read it as Marco's thoughts, too.
I think it's just
Yeah,
a narration.
he's not here right now. Just go ahead and read it, little sleep.
Interference is to be kept at a minimum. I can practically hear the monitor say. I sigh, just sort of wishing that the parents didn't exist at all, that this other wasn't eating at the edges of our universe, which is apparently the root cause of all of this. That's something else I don't understand. From what I gathered, the Galaxios had already known about the other, but vaguely. Amicus had almost described it to me when I first arrived here, and that had been told had been told that all life originated from the same source, except for the other, a different type of life, so different from us that we can barely understand them. But now we know that they're out there to get us or something. I just can't help but feel so distant from all of this. The results of struggling between us and them being millennia away. We don't even know how many millennia. As I'm becoming more and more depressed over all of this, I hear footsteps on the path. I look up half expecting to see Alex, even as I remember him being banished from the palace. It's Neferu, and he's strolling along the paths, paws behind his back, with his usual suave smile plastered on his muzzle. I have to wonder how he keeps that expression on all the time, as it's clear he doesn't see me until he makes his... As it's clear he doesn't see me until he comes up a bit closer. When he does spot me, his ears flick up and I get a glimpse of white teeth as his smile broadens. I smile back, even though I'm not in the best of moods to chat at the moment. Still, I scoot over to make room on the bench, and Neferu greets me with a bow, and along with a hooktep, be with you, before he sits next to me, crossing one leg over the other.
Beautiful day.
He says it wistfully, and I just nod in agreement.
Though I can see that you're not enjoying it as much as I am. Is everything all right, Marco?
I'm about to give him a generic answer before I sigh, leaning back on the bench.
No, not really.
Ah, I find that a bit surprising, considering the way things have gone the past few days.
I shrug.
I mean, aside from almost dying, I guess everything here is good. But out there...
I nod up at the sky, at space.
I just don't know what to do.
Perhaps I could offer some advice?
I remember that Amicus had told me to keep the revelations about human civilization a secret, at least until the parents give further instruction.
I don't know. I think I'm just stressed about going home, about how I'm gonna do it. You know?
Ah, that I definitely understand, for I am in a similar boat. Unfortunately, I have little advice on that particular matter.
I glance over at him, watching as he rhythmically bounces a black foot about, wiggling the toes and claws.
Is Kimia still pissed about what happened?
Oh yes, furious. They're still threatening to cut all diplomatic relations with Adastra if Amicus doesn't make things right somehow.
Make things right?
Yes, despite the fact that my family very nearly despises me. They actually despise that our name has been sullied by wolven disrespect.
Oh, you were almost executed.
That, and also the fact that Kato released the footage of his attack on my person before the scheduled execution. It's been in heavy rotation on the news channels ever since.
Oh.
I haven't watched much of Adastran television after seeing the reenactment of my own death, so I guess I've been missing Neferu getting kicked in the balls over and over again.
Whoa, what's happening?
Well... should I reread?
Yeah, can you reread that?
Yeah. Well, you know wolves. They just like any sort of drama.
Been spread across the entire Galaxius. I suppose seeing a Chemian in such a position is rather amusing to everyone, siblings and children alike.
I look over at Neferu again, but his light, carefree demeanor continues as he simply seems to be soaking in the scenery.
You doing alright?
Neferu looks at me, then... Oh, Neferu looks at me then, smile becoming a bit more warm.
I am fine, Marco. But if I'm being truthful, I am embarrassed. But that's nothing new for me.
I frown.
I can count the number of times I've seen you embarrassed on one hand, Neferu. You're downright shameless.
I smile to lighten the words, and Neferu just chuckles.
You probably know by this point that I'm not often genuine. It comes with being a diplomat and the Pharaoh's son.
There is a lull in the conversation as we both just watch the gardens, listening to the birds and watching the bees hover flower to flower. That's when I That's when I'm reminded of something.
So, what made the Kimians want to start an alliance? Isn't it pretty groundbreaking for siblings to work together? Like, isn't that against the purpose of the Galaxius?
I play dumb, like I don't already know what it is. Neferu quirks an eyebrow at me.
That's a surprising question. Well, to put it simply, we studied the earliest histories of the Galaxius and came to the conclusion that it was never the intent of the parents for us to be competitors. If you don't know, the goal of a sibling race and its children is to achieve parental status. To do that, we must be able to achieve intergalactic travel. We're slowly realizing that this may not be possible without the cooperation of all sapient life in the galaxy.
I nod in understanding. So it seems like the Kimians were already hip on the... Sorry. So it seems that the Kimians were already hip to this plan, to this grand plan. Either by figuring it out on their own, either by figuring it out themselves, or with the help of their own parent. This makes me wonder if they might know more about the thing lingering at the edges of the universe.
Do you know much about the other?
Now Neferu turns on the bench to really look at me, furrowing his brows.
Another interesting question. Did you have some sort of experience with the parents when they healed your wounds?
Yeah, kind of. Just really vague stuff. So I'm curious about it, is all. I'm just curious about it, is it?
I try to make it sound like it's not a big deal.
Well, it is an entity that spreads through the universe every few billion years. It originated from somewhere other than the original source of life, the source from which we all came.
His choice of words is confusing me.
Is it, like, alive?
Is it alive like you and I? No, not really. It is more of a machine, I suppose. On the edge of life, but it needs sapient life to exist.
Oh, like a virus?
Yes, though even viruses originated from the original source. The other is truly something different.
And it feeds on life? Our life? I mean...
First, I should say that what we know about it is very, very limited, and the majority of the information is likely wrong. Really just ghost stories.
Well, what are these ghost stories?
Neferu sighs, and I realize that he's not exactly interested in this topic.
How to put it? Well, it's thought that in the half dozen or so times that the other has spread through our part of the universe, it has left behind small, patchy portions of itself. It is technically all around us, but very weak, though it is thought that highly concentrated portions of it attach to tangible things, or occasionally pass through us.
I feel a little tingle down my spine.
And does it do?
Neferu shakes his head.
I'm sure your people have stories of phenomena that are unexplainable. Perhaps an abandoned building that is inhabited by malicious spirits. Possibly a creature that defies all logical explanation, yet sporadically appears in a particular forest.
Wait, like supernatural stuff?
I give the jackal an incredulous look, and he shrugs and laughs.
So the stories say. They also say that sapient consciousness is used by the other to project these manifestations, and that the sapient's reaction to these projections feeds the entity. Personally, I feel that the legends surrounding the other are simply a catch-all for anything that is feared or poorly understood, or just the product of a bored society.
I think back to what little I know about ghosts, monsters, even aliens or UFOs, and immediately the idea is too ridiculous for me to accept.
Why haven't I heard of this while I've been here?
You probably have, but just didn't understand the topic at the time. Either way, it's never a serious worry on anyone's mind, considering how rarely this entity makes contact with our side of the universe.
I just stare at the ground, not really sure of what to say. Like Neferu, I find myself not very interested in the topic anymore, and our discussion moves on. We talk of Neferu's plans, when he might return home, and how I might help him secure an alliance. Eventually, he gets up and returns to his room for a nap, leaving me to sit on the bench in silence. If I'm being honest, the conversation has left me feeling a bit strange about the whole intergalactic war the parents are preparing.
What is that noise?
What is that in your background, Nox?
Oh, me? Oh, sorry.
Is someone snoring?
Yes, it sounds like somebody's snoring.
Yeah, someone is snoring.
Good Lord Almighty!
Damn,
maybe
they're
tell
able to
the
sleep through
doctor.
anything.
I'll stay muted until my lines come up. Sorry.
I'm going to go back a line.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, the conversation has left me feeling a bit strange about this whole intergalactic war the parents are preparing for. It sounds more like we're getting ready to fight off an army of space ghosts rather than anything real. I sit there for a while, opening my mind a bit, kind of hoping that the monitor will swing by and dump a little more information on me that I can work with, even though I know that's not really his nature. The problem is that I really know that I'll probably do this mission. In the end, I kind of feel like I have to trust in these parents, despite how awful they're being to me in Amicus. It's for the good of all sapiens, right? And if it isn't, well, I don't want to imagine we're doomed at the hands of some maniacal space ghosts. Things stay predictably quiet, and as I'm thinking about heading back to Amicus's room to see if he's returned, Calm's voice makes me jump. Amicus would like to let you know that he's currently in the bath, and if you would like to, you can join him. However, he wants to make it explicitly clear that is your choice. That is your choice. That it is your choice, and that if you need more time.
Thanks, Calm. I'll head there now.
Yes, Marco. Sorry, the context of that sentence is just really funny. I immediately spot Amicus as the door slides open, and I see the wolf jolt up from leaning back against the edge of the pool before quickly leaning back again, raising a paw casually. I walk through the steamy air and stand behind Amicus, next to the bench, and he looks back at me with a gentle smile.
Shaw?
Sorry.
Actually, I completely forgot to mention, we're at the top of the hour. Would anybody like to take a break?
Top of the hour ad break?
That sounds nice.
Okay.
Yes, please. I'll take a 10-minute nap.
All right, we'll
And
be
we
back
never
in
heard from Nox again.
we'll be back in a few then.
Alright.
Or you just said goodnight. So how's everyone's April Fool's been?
Pretty good. There's one server where I have to talk like a caveman because you can't. They banned the use of the word "I."
That's fun.
So I'm just having to be like, Leapy feels like this. Leapy thinks this.
Actually, that sounds really annoying.
Bro, it's been so good. You're really vibing in
It's
this.
been very funny. It's funnier in the context of fucking everybody having to say it.
I suppose so. Everybody's putting in the effort.
I'm gonna have.
Like,
See you, Bort.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye board. Oh.
Knox, how long are you in Vietnam for?
For a whole month. So like every Saturday or Sunday, I
Sorry, I just imagine like the Vietnam War. You asking
Oh.
that? I don't know why.
wow.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, I'll be here for like a whole month, and every Saturday or Sunday, I'm just gonna be so sleep deprived. But that is alright.
Hope you have fun there.
Thank you. It's been really fun, really. Nostalgic too.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I really apologize for the snoring in the background.
No, that was funny.
It's fine.
It literally sounded like the meme sound effect. Sound for sound. Absolutely did.
Yeah, it's my uncle, and he really sleeps through like everything.
The sleeper.
For real.
Oh.
Oh. Death. Death to all of them.
Oh, well, that's the way she goes. Some people gotta leave and all that. Oh, yeah, sure. Torva, how's the Warcraft rating going?
Oh, I finished it a bit ago.
What are you doing now, then?
Huh?
What are you doing now, then?
Staring off into space because I have a small.
Is it a small what?
I have a small headache.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you would like the end of that to be something else, huh, Jackson?
That sentence could have gone in so many different places.
You
That's
little
confusing.
shit. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna. You know what, Jackson? I'm just
No,
gonna.
please, no, not the mines.
I'm
Not the mines.
I'm gonna.
Bye, Jackson.
The Jacksons long for the mines.
The Jackson yearns for the mines. They said.
I do not yearn for.
They did.
I don't even really get the reference because I haven't played the Smoke Room.
Okay, one like, and I'll send Jackson back to the mines again.
Like.
Why is it that every fucking Discord I'm in, or every TeamSpeak around in my...
Okay, that's the last time.
It never ends. Literally for like past 12 years. I think the commonality is maybe just me.
Yes.
I'm too.
You're very
powerful.
shove into a different voice callable, you know?
No,
It's like nerds being shoved into lockers.
I know. I've never really gotten the whole shove into locker thing. All the lockers I've been around have never been big enough for that.
Yeah.
And even the ones that were tall enough for it are not wide enough for it.
Yeah, I guess it's just because like nerds are skinny, I guess.
I guess.
I feel called
See,
out.
that's why you gotta have the fat ass. That means that you can't be bullied.
I bet Torval was shoved into lockers.
No, our lockers were way too small.
Ah, see, yep.
I
The
was
school was,
shoved
the
into
school was too.
lockers.
They were too poor to afford good lockers.
Real.
True.
I was shoved into lockers in the sense that I got pushed into them. Like the shut doors.
Yeah. Honestly, that's probably the phrase makes more sense.
Probably more painful.
And more painful, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus, if they lock it, you can't really open it, and then you have to be standing there for a while.
True. So wait, are you all moved into the new place? Torvo?
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Poggers.
Have you unpacked, though? That's the question.
No.
There it is.
No, I have not, and I probably won't for a while.
I predict you will not be unpacked for a whole year. There will
yeah.
always be that one box. Like I still have a box laying around here somewhere. That's probably not unpacked.
It's just. Oh god. I hate unpacking. I hate packing. I hate moving. I hate.
You hate.
I hate.
The dark side is a pathway to many abilities.
Including the ability to take a very long nap. I'm very sleepy.
The only thing that the dark side can enable you to do is taking fat loads.
God, yeah.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
That's true. We know the Jedi ain't taking any fat loads. A bunch of celibate losers.
They've definitely taken fat L's though.
True.
Yeah.
So true.
Remember that time that they were genocided? That was so funny.
It was hilarious.
God, that was probably the biggest L ever. Am I right?
Absolutely masterful move by Palpatine.
They had it coming. That's all I'll say.
They had it coming.
L Riz. Oh my goodness. Extinct. Extinct L. Je.
Somebody in no mic is like, I heard.
God, I
fat
fucking
words.
love that video.
Jesus.
Je.
Of course, Brown is
Ew.
that.
It's so fucking funny. That girl was a genius.
Yeah. Oui, oui, baguette.
Jeez.
She says, "Je voudrais me revancher." It's so good.
This is a no French.
French is a waste of time.
Guillaume, we really need your French, please.
I think
Il aime
he's dead.
dire.
Alright.
Les venger?
French do you need?
Okay, I'm gonna post text that you have to read out loud, okay?
You have to do
That
it.
works.
If you don't do it, I'm gonna be very disappointed to you. To you? In you.
What? In you? Oh.
Quick, put your
Yes,
disappointment
Leo.
in me.
Say some words.
No. I have a specific script. It
Oh,
is
a
it is
specific
going in
script.
No Mic 2. Where's No Mic 2?
Alright.
Hell yeah.
Also, hello, Leafy.
Hello, miss. I wear
No,
sunglasses.
you have to say this
I
in
want to
French.
blend- Oh.
Translate it live.
Salut, miss. Je porte des lunettes de soleil. Je veux me venger. Merci beaucoup. Je hurle. Oui, oui, du pain. Bisous.
I'm surprised
Thank
you're
you.
able to do that in real
Thank
time.
you so much.
That's not real.
It was literally as good as I could imagine.
Thank you, girl.
Je,
Oh wow, Jackson, you are right. My icon is just fucking glaring. at
Oh,
people.
that's what I'm saying, man.
It's
It's
just
literally just
fucking-
staring at us menacingly.
It's an otter that stares at gay people.
Wait, who's the otter that stares at gay people?
It's my current icon. It's
Oh,
instead
right.
instead of Sydney, it's Sydney's dad for today.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. Je porte lunettes de soleil. Je veux me venger. Merci beaucoup. Je hurle. Oui, oui, madame. Bisous.
French is
Oh shit, it's fine again.
Oui, oui, baguette.
Oui, oui, baguette.
baguette.
Bisous.
Ah,
She's a genius. I love her.
Okay, so we can probably start reading again, but I really liked that segue. Thank you so much, Guillaume.
Oh, shoot.
Again.
Sorry.
You're welcome.
All right, Shaw, you're gonna have to start off this time. Oh no, Shaw isn't here.
Papa Bear. Papa Bear. Shaw. My Amicus.
I think he's dead.
Oh no.
Wait, let me talk to
Okay,
Papa
no
Bear.
God.
He just needs to. Oh, there we go.
There we go, Papa Bear.
Sorry, I was muted and I was trying to unmute myself.
Good. So
No
now we
problem, my
please
Amicus.
take it away.
Soak with me?
I nod wordlessly and slip out of my robes and underwear before walking to the edge of the pool. With a little hop, I dip in quietly all at once, mostly used to the scalding temperature at this point. As I come up, Amicus reaches out and pulls me to press up next to him. fitting against the curve of his chest in that familiar way, in that familiar, easy way.
Boobs.
How was the meeting with the triumvirates?
Good, good. A lot of seeming pointless talking. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Etiquette.
Etiquette. But as you know, no. But as you and I know, it's necessary.
As long as there aren't any riots.
Yes, as long as there aren't any of those.
We sit in the hot water for a while, and I enjoy the way it makes my worries seem so far away, locked behind the doors to the bath. I should do this more often. But of course, it's the main thing on Amicus's mind right now. He clears his throat nervously.
How do you think about, did you make your no, sorry.
Amicus shows off in the most awkward way possible, and I laugh a little bit, though it's a bit more of a sad laugh.
A little, but I don't think I have a choice, that any of us really have a choice.
That's not true. You can choose.
This is all meant to happen. It's the entire reason that any of this happened at all. I have a purpose, and I don't know. I don't really want to cause delays, drag some other human to this, especially if it will help your empire in the end.
Amicus grumbles.
Well, I don't believe that you should be forced to take on duties or trust upon you without your consent. It's cruel, and I want you to choose what you feel is right.
I give Amicus a look.
Hasn't that been your whole life?
Well, yes, but I think talking about you.
I smirk.
Oh, I see. The silly, dumb ape who can't handle big boy responsibilities.
Amicus's reaction to my teasing is instant and visceral.
No, I would never.
Sorry, I was just kidding. I shouldn't make fun about that.
Amicus settles back again, still looking concerned.
It's alright. I just don't want you to ever feel that way again.
Amicus sighs deeply.
Also, I do believe we would have met somehow, even without the parents intervening.
Now I really give Amicus a look.
Seriously?
Of course. Something this special can't be stopped by likes of time and space.
Amicus starts pulling me into his body, nuzzling me.
Anyway, I'm not completely sure yet. I need to think about it. We do have 9 months to make a baby.
I was just about to fucking say
Enough to make a baby.
Take your time, but if you do choose to go, you must promise me one thing.
I feel a little apprehension at that.
Yes?
Well, 8 years is quite a while for a human lifespan, so I know you're rejecting initially, but please start taking the life extension medication. There is a formula especially for primates. I need you around for as long as I can, Marco.
I realize then how well Amicus is taking this whole 8 years thing, and I have to wonder if he's just trying to make it sound less bad than it actually is. 8 years is a long time, whether you're a human or a wolf. I'd actually forgotten about the lifespan extending medication after Amicus had told me about it. For whatever reason, extending my life by decades, hundreds of years, didn't really appeal to me at the time. But now, all I want is more time. So I nod.
Of course.
And yet, time seems to move faster than ever. This is on top of the fact that 9 months is quite a few more days here on Adastra than it would be on Earth. Still, the days fly by, and I think it mostly has to do with my life not being in peril anymore. I'm not dreading a trial or fighting that. I'm not dreading a trial or fight that will determine my future. Now it's more of a slow burn that begins to blend together. Life in the palace becomes routine again. I have my own little schedule that involves gardening, watching certain programs on Adastra television that I've actually grown to tolerate. I start to study, using Calm as my teacher to learn as much as I can about Adastra and Galaxio's history. I even have enough time to start learning the language. Apparently, they never bothered to name their language, which is a very woven thing to do. But as I noticed when I first arrived, it's nearly identical to Latin back on Earth. This makes it fairly easy to pick up, considering I studied some Latin back in school.
Hey Leslie, can you stop for 1 second? Can you turn your gain down?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Testing 1, 2, 3. How does this sound?
Just talk for like a sentence.
What was the last line? But as I noticed when I first arrived, it's nearly identical to Latin back on Earth.
Yeah, I don't know why. It sounds like it's clipping.
Give me like 2 seconds.
Okay. Anyway, people are free to talk now whenever we have technical difficulties.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Flesh Panopticon. Welcome.
I'm gonna close my eyes.
That's me.
I'm looking forward to
Oh,
eating
make sure
after
to grab
this.
your waters too. Hydration check.
Yes.
Hello.
Always a hydration check.
Hi.
I'm testing 1, 2, 3. Test.
Sounding better.
Is it better?
You passed.
Let's see. Try talking one more time.
Apparently, they never bothered to name their language, which is a
Perfect.
very... Oh, cool. I will just continue from there, I suppose.
Mhm.
Let me just rejoin the stream.
He's not crunchy anymore.
We've removed the crunch. Smooth only from
All I
now
did
on.
was restart Discord, and that was it.
There's no Adastran lube in this voice chat. It's only smooth
It's
earthen lube.
That's even worse.
What?
It's not in jars or
fiction.
anything. It's there.
Do you
There's nothing
prefer your
fancy
lube
about it.
smooth or crunchy?
Low fat,
No.
actually.
Just a little spit, you know. That's all we need.
Little spit. I hate that.
Sorry, we don't
I
have the
prefer
organic lube
crystal
and
salt.
stuff right now.
I don't have the organic kind.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Leslie.
I want it like
Just fucking coated in bath salts.
I want it in the type where it's just like you can dip something in it, like in those little snack tubes.
Wait, did somebody say something about fucking a fleshlight full of bath salts?
What the fuck?
Excuse me?
Hello, we're on Twitch.
No. No.
Yeah, we're on.
I think it was to Leslie.
They're currently gone.
Nah, it was definitely them.
Hey,
My
that's
man.
me.
Guys, just use spit or olive oil.
I'm sorry.
Olive oil.
Just use Dasani water, okay?
Hey, babe, can you get the olive oil?
Can you get the fancy olive oil? Yeah.
Get the fucking extra virgin.
This is
What it will
literally
be after
ancient
this.
Greece. This is literally ancient Greece summarized in 2 words. Or like a sentence.
Can you
I
grab
recommend
the?
using vanilla extract.
Can you get the 5W20, please?
I don't know what that is.
WD4. I mean, it's actually really funny. It's actually it's
Oh,
motor oil.
No squeaking.
Make sure you apply the little plastic too.
Oh, so that's
Hey, we're
what
getting
I'm
off
being
topic. We're
fed
getting off
every
topic.
day.
We're getting
I mean,
off topic.
Leslie isn't even here, so.
Leslie is here. Are you ready, Leslie?
They're crying.
They're probably trying to collect themselves right now.
Okay. Are we done?
Sorry.
Already shot.
Okay.
Leslie Sensei. Sorry.
Jackson, do you wanna narrate this?
I have a.
Already do yourself.
Oh no, not the wisdom saving throws, guys. Okay.
Wait, hang on. I have
Okay,
something
it's
for
all
you guys
out.
in no mic too.
Okay, Leslie, you good?
It's all out. We're good.
Okay.
But as I
Professionalism in the chat.
Okay.
But as I noticed, when I first
Alright,
arrived,
drink some water. Drink some water.
it's nearly identical to Latin back on Earth. This makes it fairly easy to pick up, considering I studied some Latin back in school, and I learned a good deal of Italian before my trip. Amicus thinks it is a bit odd I want to learn, considering I have the lingua. And while I've become used to life in what's basically a dubbed film, I can't help but feel it's a filter of some kind. I'd like to get past that, hear Amicus and the others as they are. And if I'm going to spend most of my life here, I've already started to... Oh, and if I'm going to be spending most of my life here, I've already started taking the supplements to extend my lifespan, which means I could be alive for a lot longer than I'd ever imagined. Though Felix says that at most I might get an extra 100 extra years out of the treatment, rather than the 200 or so that the wolves get because I started taking them when I was already an adult. That's a very long sentence. Still, it's a lot, and while I'm sure most people on Earth would be desperate for this supplement, I strangely feel a bit exhausted by the idea. Living 100 to 200 years really changes one's perspective on time. Maybe that's one of the factors that makes it seem as if the days are going by so fast. The worst part about it is that I don't get to spend much of it with Amicus. It's something I had anticipated even. But I can't help but feel a little depressed that I only see him for a second in the morning when he kisses me goodbye, then late at night to have dinner with me, exhausted by his imperial duties. While Cassius mainly lounged around during his short rule, I also know that Kato was doing nearly all of the work behind the scenes. And while Virginia would be more than happy to do the same, Amicus isn't the type to be lazy like that. Speaking of, it's not just Amicus. While his absence would be bearable if I had at least someone to talk to that isn't calm, everyone else seems to have become just as busy. Neferu, my only real friend on this moon, aside from Amicus, is usually off doing diplomatic stuff in the city, his mission to secure an alliance fully in motion. Virginia is always by Amicus's side, especially now that the population has grown used to the idea of a woman in the chief advisor role. Congrats. And while I never really connected with her, it would still be nice to have some sort of company. I mean, even Cassius would be a welcome distraction, but the White Wolf left a few months back to tour some impoverished regions of tongue-tied. But the White Wolf left a few months back to tour the more impoverished regions of Adastra so that resources might be better allocated. And it also turns out that he left with a former best Adastra friend, Alexios. Cassius left us all somewhat stunned when he did this, doing important social work while a known spy and saboteur, one that could be blamed for a lot of the damage to Adastra society, is by his side. Amicus was adamant on deporting Alexios on the first ship back to Amorpha, but Cassius talked with him, and I guess he conceded. And I guess he'd been convinced. Amicus simply sent a few extra guards to keep a close eye on Alex. When I'd asked about this, Amicus only told me that it was when I'd asked about this, Amicus only told me that the cat is powerless now, unable to connect with his homeworld due to all the communication with Amorpha having been blocked after the scandal, one that involved many more actors than just Alex. That sentence is divided kind of word in the script. It doesn't sit right with me though. The idea that Alex caused so much pain for so many people, yet he's facing no consequences. Sure, I made that deal with him to free Amicus, but he really shouldn't still be out here. He really shouldn't still be here. I already know though that it's more to do with Cassius's relationship with the cat. And I don't doubt that the White Wolf had compared their situation to ours so that he could better convince Amicus. Even if it was incomparable. So now Alex has something to do, a role to fill, a role to play. And I'm the one that's left feeling useless and alone in the palace. While I know I'll have a special position once I start my mission, I'm supposed to keep a low profile until then. Sorry, my cheeks still hurt from laughing. The only job I have right now over the course of the entire 9 months is to decide whether or not I'm going to play the role the parents want me to. And while that's well and good, as it's a decision that will affect the rest of my life, I also sort of expected to be given some sort of information over the course of my waiting period. But no, Infinite Space remains quiet, and the monitor isn't breaking in through my consciousness to give me tips on what to expect. So I'm left pulling the endless weeds in the gardens, waiting, wondering, as unsure of my future as I've ever been.
Michael?
Leslie?
Sorry, I was getting a sip of water.
Oh,
that was
gotcha.
a lot of text. I crack open my eyes, seeing the large silhouette of Amicus in the dim lights of the bedroom.
Good morning.
I smile and reach out my hands, expecting the usual hug and kiss before he's off for the day. Instead, though, he sits on the bed next to me, running a paw through my hair gently, pushing it back away from my forehead.
Your fur is a mess.
just wake up.
It's cute.
Amicus continues to brush his fingers and claws through my hair. I watch him for a moment, a bit confused.
You alright?
Very much so.
I look over at the curtains, seeing the soft light of dawn creeping around the edges.
Don't you have to go to the city?
Nope.
Okay. Do you have the day off? You're acting a little odd.
Ah, so you don't know?
No, what?
An irrational part of me begins to wonder if the 9 months is already up, even though the last time I calculated it out, I still had 4 months left.
I'm honestly glad that you don't. I was hoping to surprise you.
I close my eyes, and only the slightest amount of frustration.
Amicus, please just tell me. You know I don't like.
I hear rustling from the wolf in front of me, and I open my eyes to the sight of a bouquet of flowers being held out to me. Like last time, it's dominated by lavender, and its smell surrounds me, a smell that my brain has exclusively tied to my wolf. Meanwhile, white and pink flowers along the edges complement the purple. I stare at it in surprise, unsure of what to think or say. Amicus fills the silence.
Happy Lover's Day, Michael.
The wolf continues to hold out the bouquet insistently, so I finally reach up and take it, noticing that it looks much nicer this time versus the Amicus's first bouquet.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I sit there holding the bouquet awkwardly for a few seconds, noticing the stems dripping slightly on the blanket, so I hold them out over the edge.
So is this some kind of Adastra holiday?
Indeed. To celebrate those who you love and cherish. For me, that's you, Marco. I love you.
Though I'm still feeling a bit dazed at the unexpectedness of it all, I managed to smile.
You too, Amicus. I kind of wish I'd known. I didn't get you anything.
Amicus waves his paw dismissively in the air.
The flowers are simply a human touch that I knew you'd appreciate. Besides, this isn't a gift-giving occasion. It's a go out and enjoy yourself occasion.
Amicus stands suddenly, reaching out his paw to me.
Come. I have the entire day planned for us. Just you and I. The triumvirs, diplomats, and advisors to bother us.
I take his paw, smiling as I realize how this has seemingly come just in time for me. I've been feeling so lonely and bored in the palace. This is exactly what I need. I hold the flowers to my chest. Smelling them, not caring anymore that they're all wet.
What do you have planned?
That's also a surprise. I'd like to leave in the next few minutes though, so get dressed and don't worry about showering.
Alright.
I move towards the dresser to grab my robes, but as I'm doing though, I hear a loud knock at the door. Amicus's cheery mood drops for a moment as he lets out a frustrated sigh.
Calm. Who's at my door?
Neferu is at your bedroom door, Amicus. Amicus closes his eyes for a second, then opens them again, smiling at me.
One moment. Probably just to wish us a good Lover's Day. Or something.
Amicus strides over to the door while I quickly pull out a clean robe, pulling it over my body as the door opens.
Neferu, did you need something?
Hello, Amicus. And a hotep be with you, Marco.
Neferu pokes his head around Amicus's bulk while the wolf is clearly trying to use to shield me from view, even though I'm already in the process of tying on my robe.
I'll hotep be with you.
I mumble back, nodding in the jackal's direction.
What was it you needed?
Well, you are needed by the council. The Keyman ambassador and the vizier arrived an hour ago, and they requested we begin our meeting at once.
What? No!
Amicus lets out a groan of frustration, leaning his head back and tilting his muzzle towards the ceiling.
Didn't Com notify you? I've been waiting in the carriage for 15 minutes. Virginia's already there.
Neferu leans sideways slightly to look over at me again.
Am I interrupting something? Are you making a baby in here?
It's been almost 9 months. Tick tick. Tick tock.
Tick tock, Marco and Amicus. You don't have much time left.
Put a baby in him.
I couldn't resist. Okay. Am I interrupting something?
It's Lover's Day. I cleared my schedule weeks in advance for this.
Oh, is it? Well, I suppose I would have no reason to know, eh?
Neferu winks.
Anyway, you know how poorly schedules match up when the stretch drive is used. Simply bad luck.
Bad luck indeed.
All the while, I feel the slight sinking sensation of disappointment. I can't really say I'd been looking forward to this, considering I didn't know it was a thing, but the couple of minutes I knew about it, I was really looking forward to it. Amicus turns, then gaze softens as he spots me standing there, spots me standing in my disheveled, half-tied robe. I shrug in what I hope looks like a nonchalant manner.
It's alright. I understand. We can do something any other time.
Marco.
I suppose I'm not doing a very good job of not looking just a little upset.
I mean, I'm happy with just this.
I pick up the bouquet of flowers I'd set on the dresser, inhaling the scent again.
The fact that you did all this in the first place means a lot to me.
Amicus goes on frowning at me, clearly not buying it. Then he snarls.
Fuck.
Neferu raises a brow.
More language for an emperor, Amicus.
Amicus ignores the jackal, keeping his eyes on me.
This is the only meeting I'll have all day. It shouldn't last that long, and then we'll be able to do most what I plan.
I wouldn't plan on that. This is very important.
I know, Neferu, but it won't last all day. Anyway, Marco, come with me. way, as soon as the meeting is finished, we can immediately go to our private dinner.
You're bringing Marco. Didn't you say we should be... fuck. Didn't you... Fuck!
Didn't you say we would fuck?
It's Neferu just yelling out the word fuck at random.
Didn't you say you would put a baby in Marco?
Jesus Christ.
Okay, all right. From the top. You're bringing Marco. Did you...
Jackson, you get this line right or you're going to the mines.
Torva, that was priceless.
This reading has been wild. So good.
Having a fucking mod in chat is literally priceless.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have it ready to go.
You're bringing Marco. Didn't you say we should be keeping his profile low?
It's Lover's Day. No one will be at the university.
What's so funny?
Stop laughing. Nothing's happening.
I raise my hands. I'm being held up at gunpoint because of laughter.
I raise my
gosh,
hands.
the baby! Pick me up, please. I don't want to cause any problems. I can just wait for you here.
You are causing no problems. You will be accompanying me to the city. As my lover, you shouldn't be at my side during Lover's Day. You should be at my side. If you so choose.
At this point, anything sounds better than staying in the palace, so the decision is pretty easy.
Alright, yeah, let's go.
Sorry. Amicus looks somewhat relieved, letting out a breath before reaching out to take my hand, walking us out into the hallway while Neferu follows behind.
I promise it will be quick. And I'm sorry, sometimes it's just hard to...
Amicus seems to struggle to find his wording.
I understand. You're the Emperor. Besides, it's not fair for me to be upset because my boyfriend is spending more time on his Emperor duties than me.
I won't understand if you were...
I just hope it won't be like this forever.
It won't be. We're simply at a turning point in Adastra history. And when you return and when everything settles, we'll have much more time to ourselves.
My stomach... My stomach lurches.
Oh my goodness.
Honestly, they were
It doesn't help that it says stomach.
Why is it stomach?
I honestly don't think it's the content of what he's saying at this point. I think it's just the act of fucking starting to speak where it's like, oh.
Oh, my stomach lurches.
My stomach lurches slightly at being reminded that I have my own job to do. One that I'm not looking forward to. I glance back at Neferu, wondering if he should be hearing any of this, but the jackal seems to be paying attention. But the jackal seems to not be paying attention to anything. His expression distant, his lips moving silently. It looks like he's reciting something. I look forward again, leaning against Amicus as we head outside towards the carriage. I already start feeling a lot better as our mechanical carriage creaks through the forest. The peaceful, eerie green calming my irritation, calming any irritation I might have felt with the whole situation. The eerie green calming any irritation I might have about the whole situation. Amicus has pulled me against his right side, fitting me in that familiar way as I rest my head against his shoulder. To Amicus's left, Neferu sits with his legs crossed, an elbow on his knees and a chin on his paw. I notice Neferu and Amicus not attempting to make conversation with each other, not even glancing at one another. I think it's pretty clear at this point that Amicus and Neferu don't really mesh well. Their personalities too different. Which I guess is fine, as long as they're not fighting anymore. Neferu seems to have stopped his silent chanting, so I take the opportunity to ask him a question, leaning forward to look around Amicus's front.
So, what's going on with this Chemian ambassador and the other thing you mentioned? If you can tell me, that is.
The jackal glances at me before shifting into a position that's more directly facing me.
The vizier, he's the highest official serving under the pharaoh. As for the ambassador, Adastra hasn't had a Chemian ambassador since the war.
Amicus grunts.
I'll point out that Chemia was the first to expel the ambassador.
Neferu maintains a straight face.
And we are the first to re-establish one.
As it should go.
Well, that's good.
I talk a little louder than usual, trying to stop an argument before it can happen.
So are they going to help establish an alliance?
Yes, along with smoothing over Adastra-Chemia relations in general. The ambassador will be here for the long term. The vizier...
Amicus glances at Neferu, but the jackal simply leans back, looking out to the forest again.
The vizier will depart back to Chemia within a week, which is why negotiations must begin at once.
And you said this is taking place at a university?
Yes, there are a few Chemian experts there. And I suppose Chemians find places of learning more comfortable to negotiate in.
Amicus glances at Neferu for confirmation.
I believe it has more to do with Adastran Academia being a more friendly entity compared to the political departments or palace.
Amicus smirks.
Indeed. The last bastion of Chema files.
Neferu rolls his eyes before they settle on me again.
Oh, and remember our conversation about the other? This university is famous for supposedly being absolutely infested.
I raise an eyebrow.
So it's haunted?
Amicus frowns.
I'm just curious. Have you been filling his head with ghost stories of students, Neferu?
I have.
Don't worry, I don't really believe it.
I lean back against Amicus, deciding that we can't really have a conversation with these two canines butting heads. The university is in a secluded area outside the city, mostly surrounded by the forest. The gardens and paths are well taken care of, and it reminds me of a more classical-looking version of the palace. Amicus was right. I don't see a single person on campus. Our carriage rides up to the main path, to the large-looking building that's front and center. We park in front of the building, next to a few small aircrafts, before getting out and heading inside. For a moment, I'm in awe at the size and architecture surrounding me, especially the amount of sculptures spread throughout the halls. Amicus immediately begins to talk, though.
Go ahead and make yourself comfortable. There should be screens in most of the rooms, and down to the stairs you can find games of amusement
Amicus!
Amicus jerks his head away from me, looking up as Virginia's familiar voice in a very familiar tone echoes around the marble hallways.
Gods.
Amicus mumbles under his breath as Virginia, her face a mask of fury, approaches. She spares me a glance for a second before focusing back on Amicus.
You are an hour late.
Am I?
Yes, I've tolerated your tardiness since you were a child, but you've kept the vizier waiting. How could you?
The wolf whisper screams through her teeth, eyes practically bulging from her head. I've never seen Virginia so angry before. Amicus shifts uncomfortably.
Well, it's a holiday, so I disable notifications.
Are you joking? Emperors do not get holidays. Ever.
Well, consider it strategic.
What?
I am simply letting him know who holds the power here. It will be an advantageous start to our negotiation.
Virginia looks at her brother with borderline disgust.
Well, at least you can make even the most extreme stupidity sound not quite so stupid. I hope you're not planning on bringing your mate in.
For a moment, I don't realize that she's referring to me.
Of course not. He's waiting out here.
Virginia looks at me again.
My apologies. I hope my brother learns to treat you with more respect in the future. If not, then I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding someone better.
What? If you're so worried about wasting time, why are you doing this just that?
Teacher Viteris is entertaining them on a tour. You'd better think of a good excuse before they return. Actually, just pretend it didn't happen.
Oh, that sounds something you wouldn't want me to do.
Chemians are different. I suggest you try not to trick them. Let's go in for now. I think I hear them.
Sure enough, I hear echoing voices up the hallway. Amicus turns to me, giving me a quick hug, again reassuring me that he won't be long before following Virginia up the hallway and disappearing behind a sliding door. Neferu, who I had completely forgotten about, walks past me, heading for the room as well. I frown, noting the dull look on his face, the one he'd been wearing since the carriage ride.
You alright?
I ask him, just as he passes me by. He glances towards me.
Of course.
He doesn't even make an effort to make it look like that's the case before walking through the doors as well. The voices get closer, coming from a bend in the hallway just ahead. Not really wanting to be seen, I move back towards the sculptures, hiding myself amongst them. Technically, all of Adastra City knows who I am, my face having been shown on the giant screens in the city on loop for months. Still, I'm odd enough that I feel like it would just cause more trouble than it would be worth if I'm seen. So I peer around a statue wolf's waist, still feeling like a stalker as I watch the small crowd approach the door that Amicus, Virginia, and Neferu walk through. A very short old wolf leads the way, followed by the only second jackal I've seen in person. He's taller and thinner than Neferu, and there's an icy cold expression on his face. I imagine him to be the vizier, and next to him walks a rather broad-shouldered creature that vaguely looks like a wolverine. His clothing and paint on his fur is definitely Chemian, so I assume him to be the ambassador. Finally, a younger wolf brings up the rear, one that has long fur on his neck, which he has styled into a braid. I'd heard that wolves with manes are some... I've heard about wolves with manes at some point in my studies, a trait that had been cultivated amongst Adastra's more influential families, a status symbol of the elites. The braided wolf starts to look in my direction, and that's when I pull back quickly, hiding myself behind the marble and waiting until I hear the door slide shut again. I'm left alone, standing amongst the quiet, spotless marble of the expansive university. At first, I sit on a bench, quietly taking in the architecture, thinking about how cool it would be if I could study here instead. Though now I know this is the most prestigious school in Adastra the most prestigious university in Adastra, having been the giant name carved into the face of the building on the way in. Veros University, or just Vero. Only the smartest young wolves study here, along with the wolves from the richest families on Adastra. However, from the handful of times it's come up in Calm's ramblings, it sounds like it's one of the most progressive places on the moon. It was one of the first universities to allow women to study inside the school, rather than sit in a separate, cheaper building on the outskirts of campus. That was just 50 years ago, finally under the rule of Amicus's father. Eventually I grow bored with just sitting there and I start walking around, looking at the sculptures and plaques. They give short descriptions of various wolves and sculptures. They give short descriptions of the wolves, of the various wolves. They give short descriptions of the various wolves the sculptures depict, and I try to piece together what I can. I try to piece together with my limited written language knowledge. Notable is the one in the middle, Vero, the university's namesake. He apparently studied the education system of Amorpha before implementing the system on Adastra. This alone shows how different this university is from the rest of Adastra. The wolves, especially the politicians, would never admit to borrowing anything from the cats, even though they borrowed plenty. But even here, there are only sculptures of wolves. No siblings, no children, nothing. It reminds me of one of the biggest issues I've been wrestling with the past few months. How desperate I feel for this society, how separate I feel from this society. It's to be expected. I'm an alien. I'm on an alien world after all, but it's a world of many different creatures and cultures. Yet the wolves seem to be doing their best to ignore that. I realize that I will never be part of this society, even if humans are successfully integrated into the Galaxios. In fact, I already know what the wolven reaction to human society will be. Suspicion, condescension, and overall jealousy at the idea of a race that seemingly uplifted itself. A species assigned a role that's different than all the rest. It doesn't matter that I'm liked by them now. It's only because I'm a seemingly dumb parentless ape. They will come to despise me, just as they despise the Chemians. Is it worth it to deal with all of that, only to be with Amicus? I know the answer, but I still contemplate. As my thought process spirals, I even think for a moment about maybe Alex. I even think for a moment that maybe Alex had the right idea, but no, thoughts like that always bring me back down. It reminds me that humans, wolves, and all the rest of the Galaxios aren't so different in the end, which means I have to hope that the parents are different, because I don't think I can trust gods that act like I do. I try to distract myself, walking around the big marble halls, looking into different rooms and reading any inscriptions I can find. The game room in the basement is just a series of tables with various board games I never learned to play. After a while, it becomes clear that this is not going to be a quick meeting. The hours go by slowly, and while I would usually be pretty ticked off at Amicus at this point, I'm mostly just sad. Being alone amongst towers, marble pillars isn't so different from the palace, and still, this is actually a nice change of pace. I just wish I could be spending more time with Amicus. Eventually, I find a bunch of red cloth piled on the table, looking like banners for what could be the school's flag or colors or something. I grab a couple of those, scouting out a marble bench hidden in the corner of the main room behind the statue of behind the statues and out of sight of the door. I lie down on the bench, flat on my back, laying the cloths under my head. I'm tired after being woken up. I'm tired after being woken up so much earlier than I usually am used to, and it's not long before I'm drifting off to sleep.
Okay, quick pause. Should we finish this scene right here, or would you like to stop before the parents or the other or anyone speaks?
I think this is a good place.
This is a good stopping point, I think.
Okay, cool. Nice.
I'm fine with continuing. I just quick water break.
Yeah. I think that this is a good place to stop as well.
Perfect stopping point.
Actually, I changed my mind. Yeah, I believe this is a perfect stopping point as well.
Well, like, I'm actually really surprised at how pessimistic Marco is. I didn't realize that until I heard him speak. Like, actually, like, hearing the narration is like, damn, Marco, you fucked up.
He's got to have more faith. You got to have faith, Marco.
I mean, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I can empathize with him.
Yeah, but when you're on the same side as Alex, you know something's wrong.
That's true.
I mean,
I don't
he
think
only
it was him.
contemplated it.
I don't think it was him being on the same side as Alex. More so, it was like an
He
intrusive
merely
thought or
considered
something.
his words.
He's definitely pessimistic. I don't like it. Come on, Marco.